think Meghan totally missed the memo, the message, which is that yes, having a title is somewhat impressive in Hollywood. Not a lot of people have that, but very, 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 very few, even actors, have the level of following and the level of influence that the Kardashians, they have seen the great results of that. And Meghan Markle just can't do any of that. And she's also not authentic. And the Kardashians, like them or hate them, I think they do have a pretty good authenticity chip there.
A low pulsing heartbeat, dull at first, then rising. Boom, boom, boom. A solitary figure enters the frame, slow, determined. It's Meghan. Face tight, hair tied back like armor. Her eyes storm bright. She said she'd come unannounced. She said she'd come prepared. But no one said just how furious she'd be. 3 words, we need answers. And in those words, the walls of the old guard begin to crack. A heartbeat pause. A frame freeze. Meghan's silhouette backlit, her hand raised, not in aggression but insistence. One moment guessed. The next liability. And then she's dragged. Meghan furious and dragged off after showing up to Kris Jenner. Meghan's heel slipping on marble, a gloved hand gripping her wrist. Kris's shadow in the background, still watching.
All-in-one shampoo and his shaving foam and his razor. Well, listen, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We ought to do that, Kinsey. What about
turned a plea into a royal rupture? Los Angeles, Monday, 10:45 p.m. A private West Hollywood residence and a conversation that wasn't meant to escalate. In the corner, Meghan stands apart, dialing. Freeze frame. The phone screen, Kris mobile, calling. She called Kris, 2 rings. Then voicemail, not returned. Another attempt, just 1 ring, then silence. And after that, nothing. No note, no text, no excuse, just void. A dim glow from Kris's pool house. Shadows move behind frosted glass. A flash from a phone, Meghan's aide snaps a photo. Lights on someone's home. But when patience ends, silence answers. She made a decision. No more waiting. Tomorrow, she would go unannounced. The scene returns. Tuesday. Dawn breaks. A door opens, and Fury walks in. The leaks begin. Chapter card, The Leaks. By dawn, the house was already compromised. Not by Meghan's arrival, but by what came after. Distorted voice muffled. Something snapped. That house? We'll never look at it the same. Montage. Redacted emails. Message timestamps. Internal notes from Kris's team. All glitched and glitching on screen like classified evidence.
Really where she was always looking, which was not royalty. It was not being an actual influencer in the world. She really just wants to be a Kardashian.
April 18th, 2025, 11:47 p.m. A text from Meghan's assistant to Kris's office. She's distressed. This cannot wait. Marked not delivered. No reply, no bounce back, just buried. Insert CCTV angle. Kris at her vanity mirror, serene, phone on do not disturb. And then the gate override. Security log interface, blinking cursor. 1 line appears. 61203, gate access granted, ID 94231. That ID? Meghan's valet credential. But it wasn't supposed to work. A 6-minute window, long enough to walk, long enough to talk, long enough to change the story. Whisper from inside footage. She's not supposed to be here. Pause. The insider who leaked it said this wasn't a visit. It was a breach. Not just of protocol, but of peace. If they're hiding it, I'm done playing quiet. What the footage shows. Security footage only shows moments, but forensics reconstructs the storm.
Meghan Markle, how's her business empire growing?
So, Mark, there's a new story coming from the Daily Mail that says she has struggled to find a CEO for American Riviera Orchard, and they said that there are interesting...
A pristine 3D model of Kris's foyer. Baccarat crystal chandeliers. Mirrored console table. Marble threshold. Everything exact. 06:17 a.m. Meghan steps forward. Voice raised but not screaming. A gesture, measured. Then a pivot. A hand. On her elbow. One security officer moves in. Meghan's heel catches on the marble edge. Her wrist pulls back. The door frame dents slightly. Freeze frame, her heel caught. Her wrist bent. A door's padding pressed. A moment of contact, then escalation. Audio spike. Get her out. Security camera mic picks it up. 2 syllables. 4 words. Get her out. And then chaos. Close-up overlay. Meghan's scarf torn slightly. A clutched object falling from her pocket, blurred. She never raised a hand, but her presence, that raised alarms. Behind the wall, Mike catches another voice. Who does she think she is? Muffled, anonymous, but vicious. A hairline crack in the foyer's glass wall. A vertical fracture, 5 feet 11 inches in length, caused by force not from her but from reaction. Last whisper echo.
woman who married into the royal family, and they were just too, basically what she always said was too dumb for her, and that she went on and she was going to achieve these great things. No.
She barged in like a storm. Storm, not guest, not relative. And under a forensic lens, not trespasser, but trigger. Final line whispered like a secret. They didn't just remove her, they erased what she came to say. The spin begins. The spin begins. Superimposed Tuesday, 9:22 a.m. 9 hours after the scuffle, the hashtags begin. Morning talk shows, reaction podcasts, split screen commentary. Wait, did Meghan Markle really show up at Kris Jenner's mansion and get physically removed? Podcast host laughing. That's not just messy, that's monarchy level messy. Viral TikTok clip. Caption, who let her in? Muted security cam footage loops on screen. Meghan's coat swings, a hand yanks back her arm. No sound, just tension.
Going to ally yourself with this family, is there not a bit of hypocrisy? Given the previous comments that they've made about, for example, the skin tone of their baby's skin. Now, I'm actually not calling the Kardashians out for that.
By noon, the footage leaks. Blurred, silent, but damning. No context, no audio. But in the court of public opinion, context is irrelevant. A new defendant is chosen, and her name is Meghan. She knew what she was doing. You don't get dragged unless you were threatening something real. Kris doesn't panic unless there's something worth hiding. In 12 hours, Meghan transformed from Duchess to disruptor. Silence and subtext. Chapter card. Silence and subtext. Superimposed Tuesday, 1:14 p.m. No statement from Meghan. No statement from Kris. Just one post. Minimal, precise, intentional. Kris's Instagram post. Sipping tea. Wearing white. Caption. Some mornings require silence. Subtle as a brick through glass. We know what this is about. She's not posting for no reason. Queen Momager always moves in silence. She's playing chess. Meghan brought Uno cards. But silence invites investigation. Look, Meghan never lunges. That elbow grab initiated by security. Her face calm until they touched her. Tweet from Meghan's former spokesperson. There's more to this than you think. Not a defense, not a denial. A warning shot. Are we about to find out what she came for? Let her speak. If she's unhinged, show us the hinge. The footage wasn't the story. It was the fuse. And in the silence, the real question wasn't what happened, but what was said. What was said. What was said. Superimposed Tuesday, 2:42 p.m. Until now, we had the footage. The frame by frame. The echo of chaos. But footage doesn't speak.
Yes, because she wants the Kardashians' attention. She doesn't really care about the royal family. And you have to think about the time when Meghan Markle made those allegations.
What no one noticed was the microphone. Left hot, left live. Left recording. Recovered by a disgruntled technician. Smuggled out. Leaked 2 days later. This is what was said. Meghan, steady, cold. You knew, and you said nothing. Unknown female voice, calm, clipped. You don't belong here. Meghan, hard. And neither do lies. Just 3 lines. But 3 lines that split the house in half. What lies? What did Kris Jenner allegedly know? And what was Meghan never meant to find? Project C. A media collaboration rumored to involve royalty-adjacent figures. One name was attached until it wasn't. She found out the day before. That's why she went. It wasn't personal, it was business. And she was cut out. A production deal. A licensing clause. A name erased at the 11th hour. It wasn't a social call. It was a reckoning. Reporter shouts from off camera, "Is it true Meghan was part of Project C?" She doesn't respond. She doesn't have to. The door slams shut. When the confrontation turns legal, silence stops being strategy. It becomes a shield. The verdict isn't loud, it's executed. The consequences. Superimpose Wednesday, 3:06 p.m. The judgment came not in court, not online, but in a conference room quiet as a vault. High gloss wood, 6 chairs, 1 agenda. Damage control. It wasn't a meeting. It was a quorum.
Work really hard, and Meghan Markle neither has talent nor a good work ethic. And so this whole idea that she was going to come to Hollywood and achieve the great things she couldn't on her own was always going to be a fool's errand. And I
not
think
of family, not of friends, of stakeholders. We need to distance quietly, immediately. Mark, urgent. Timeline graphic animates on screen. 4:15 p.m. Meghan's name pulled from a pending docuseries. 5:22 p.m. Image rights revoked on Project C. 6:04 p.m. PR firm issues a strategic silence order to all partner entities. No headline, no drama. Just erasure. Professional, permanent. Lawyer, voice disguised. She never signed final approval. That was their exit route. All they needed was a loophole. Judgment wasn't handed down. It was executed. The shadow list. The shadow list. Superimposed Thursday, 10:01 a.m. Every industry has a blacklist. This one prefers something subtler. One tab slides open. Shadow list, discretion only. Event invitations paused. Brand collabs on hold. Feature pitches declined. Not banned. Not blacklisted. Just unbooked. Recent disruptions. A sanitized phrase. Corporate code for, you asked questions we can't have answered. Erased not with fury, but with formatting. This wasn't a scandal. It was a soft exile. Because in this world, visibility is power, and invisibility is punishment. Kris's reset. Kris's reset. Superimposed, Friday, 7:44 p.m. 4 days after the incident, she reemerged. A gala entrance, flashbulbs, velvet carpet. Kris Jenner steps out, rosé in hand, white power suit. Flanked by daughters, Kim to her left, Khloe to her right. No chaos, no questions, no need to explain. The event? A mental health fundraiser.
I don't mind the Kardashians. I used to interview some of them during my time doing showbiz, Kim and Kris specifically. And what I would say about them is I love the fact that they are grafters.
The cause, compassion. The message, control. Audio clip pulled from the red carpet Q&A. Kris smiling. This week was about boundaries and respecting peace. A sentence so subtle, it might not sting until you realize exactly who it's aimed at. She called it respecting peace. That's a subtweet with a glam squad. No press conference. No rebuttal. Just absence. The Kardashian-Jenner estate gates. Closing slowly. Mechanical, smooth. The ritual was complete. One woman returned. One woman retreated. Now replaced. No cracks. No signs. No trace. Dragged in public, defended online. Chapter card. The backlash. Superimposed Saturday, 12:33 p.m. What started as scandal spiralized into referendum. Not just on Kris. Not just on a mansion. But on who's allowed to demand answers. And who gets dragged for asking. The hashtags flipped. The outrage crystallized. She walked in, and they panicked. That says more than 1 million press statements. You don't get manhandled unless you're threatening something real. Why are black women always called angry when they're just right? The story changed. Meghan, once cast as unhinged, was recontextualized as provoked. Not an intruder, an avenger. Not fury, frustration. She asked for truth. They answered with security. Silence is power when you hold it, but when you impose it, that's not control, that's fear. In this era, silence doesn't restore order. It breeds scrutiny when a person becomes a policy. The industry shiver. Superimposed Monday, 8 a.m. Behind studio doors, a different verdict emerged. Not moral, managerial. What Meghan did triggered a new risk template, not just for talent, but for liability. New guest access policy under revision. Emergency PR escalation clause added to contracts. Third-party mediation now mandatory for high-conflict public figures. Pre-roll NDAs in effect even for non-filming scenarios. It wasn't about justice. It was about contingency. Meghan wasn't just a name anymore. She was a clause. Talent agency dashboard. Under client notes for Meghan, conflict profile active, flag for mediation. Not blacklisted. Not disqualified. Just backgrounded. In light of recent disruptions, we'll be pausing all Meghan-related campaigns. A casting sheet. Her name appears twice. Both times struck through. When they can't control the story, they manage the access. The Quiet Morning. Chapter card. The Quiet Morning. Superimposed Sunday, 6:18 a.m. A wide shot of Malibu Beach. Fog. Waves. Meghan walks alone. No entourage, no cameras, just footsteps and tide. She wasn't the first to knock. She won't be the last to be dragged. Camera holds. Meghan pauses. Looks out at the horizon. When anger is punished louder than betrayal is addressed, who exactly is the threat? Truth doesn't knock. It breaks in.